Hi, today I'm going to show you how you can do this password generator using JavaScript. So what this does is it generates random password when you click on this generate password button that includes number, uppercase letters, lowercase letters, and symbols too. So when I also click on this copy icon, I'll be able to copy that password and I can paste it into my notepad. So this is a very simple project and you'll be able to do this with simple JavaScript lines of code, and you know the drill. So let's go into our Visual Studio Code and start. So this is my Visual Studio Code, and in the body I have a div of container of class container, and inside that div container class I have two heading title, the h1 and h2, password generator and random password. I also have another div with a class of password container, inputs elements with a class of password, a placeholder of password as well. Then I have this empty div container with a class of copy, and this is the closing of my container div. And outside that container div, sorry, this is the closing of my password container div. Outside that, I have a button with a class of password button. So if I save this and minimize this guy, go into my Chrome browser, this is how our page looks like. Then what we want to do is to go into our CSS. I already have all the styling for this project, so I'm only going to uncomment them so you see their effect each on the Chrome. So first is going to be the body, and I have this background which is a URL that links to that specific image. The main height is 100 view height, display of flex, align items would be center, and this is a before studio class of the body, so that I would have that beautiful black overlay on my body. Then this is a container div, so I set some margins to it. So if I save this and go into my Chrome browser, I'll be able to see what this now looks like in a Chrome. So this is the margin, the 15% margin on the container class, that's the div. So I'll need to uncomment the body, sorry, the h1 and h2, and then save this. So for the styles on my h1 and h2, this is the specific font size I gave. That's the 2.5 rem, font width of 600, padding 0.3 rem and 0, and the specific color for white and almost light, is it lemon, respectively for the h1 and h2. Then for my password container, which is where I have the input element, I have it set to, which is the container, the div container I have for the input element, and that dot copy div. I have a width set to 500 pixel, background of white, padding 0.3 rem. Then this is displayed flex, and I have justified content of space between, gap of 1 rem, as well as the align items should be centered. So this is just the effects. The next thing I want to go into would be my input, which is this guy. So that's having a class of password. So you can see I'm just targeting that input. So font size will be 1.5 rem, and I have padding, outline 0, border 0, and it takes the width of 100%. That's full width of my password container. Then this copy is what I use to make up that copy icon that is inside this password container. So this guy, and I now use the pseudo after class selector to make up the other parts of the copy icon. So this is the specific styles I added to it. So you can see how this is simple already. So if I save this and go back to my Chrome browser, I'm just gonna minimize this guy, and then I have this beautiful copy icon. And now if I hover on it, it's having that cursor of pointer, and inside here I can type whatever I want, but that is not what I want to do. I think the last thing I want to do is to start the password generator button. So I'm just gonna comment this guy and save this, and then I'll have some stylings on this button. The next thing I want to do would be that little icon here, diamond icon, something like that. And yes, it's another div. If you had guessed that, that's correct. So if I save this, and I have that beautiful icon here with some box shadow on it. So we are done with the CSS, the HTML. Then the left over part of the project will be our JavaScript. So for the JavaScript, I'll go into my main.js. This is the styling, so you can just take a look at each of the CSS lines, so you really know what happened to each of our elements, right? So for the JavaScript section, I already linked my JavaScript, so I'm just gonna come here where I have variables for each of the specific elements from my index.html, the password, which is the index, the password, which is, if I come here, let's see from here, the password is the input, rather not the index, the input, then the password button, that's the button of course, and then the copy icon I use my div to create. So I just target those three elements, and if I run a console.log here to confirm each of those elements, if they were successfully targeted, I will be able to see them in my console log. So this is my console, and I have those three elements here. The copy is this other guy, and then the password button, then the input section. So I'll just close this for now and go back into my Visual Studio Code, and then I have this beautiful function here that says generate random password, or just generate password. So I'm just going to comment this guy and also comment this other guy, right? So for this guy, I have 4 constant variable. That means that they don't change. So I have uppercase. This is all the characters in uppercase. I have lowercase, all the characters in lowercase, and I have numbers 0 to 9, ranging from 0 to 9. I have symbols and all the possible symbols I can get. Now in the generate password function, I have a new variable here, password. Now this password is an empty string, so the first time is going to add one random string from my uppercase using this math.random. Then I'll only be getting numbers ranging from 0 to the max length of that my lowercase characters, and then I use another JavaScript method, math.floor, to remove all the decimal place from that number so that I can have a whole number. And then I have another character added to this my password I just created inside my function, and then this time is the lowercase as well as the number and then the symbol. So if I console log this and run my function is somewhere here. So when I click on the generate password button, this function should run. And now just to confirm that I have a random password, okay, just to confirm that I have this 4 digits password, 4 digits random password, I'm just going to run my console log and press the generate password button. So I'll click here and click this guy. So I have 4 characters here, 4 random password, right? Random password consisting of 4 characters, uppercase, lowercase, a number, and then a symbol. So that basically shows that it is working the way I want it to. So I'll just uncomment this guy out, or comment that part out, and then have a new variable here, all combination of my password, or combination of all the characters that make up my password. So for this, I just concatenate all the 4 variables that consist or generate or has characters that make up my password, and use a while loop condition here, a while loop to have at least 4 characters in my password. For this password that's currently containing 4 characters already, with this while loop, it keeps generating it keeps adding a random character from this particular all combo variable, and now that would be passed as the value for my password box. That's the input display. So if I save this and go back to my Chrome browser, when I click on the random password, then that is passed as the value for my input box. So basically, I've been able to generate the random password. So the next thing I want to do is to make this copy icon working. And to do that, I'll use JavaScript object called document.xex command, then copy after I've highlighted that the password box is selected. So this is just basically going to do the work for us. And if I go back and now click here to generate a random password, when I click on this button, it highlights that it selects the input section for us and as well copy it. So if I paste it in my URL, I'll have that there. So basically this is the end of the project, and you can hit the subscribe button and also turn on the bell notification icon so that you stay updated for any of my future videos. Thank you.